I'm Vanessa Tyler. Welcome to the new season of What's Eating Harlem, where we cover the most exciting community in the world. There is so much going on here in Harlem. Let's get started. That mushroom is fresh off the farm and soon on my plate at Pisticci's, a Harlem restaurant that's truly farm to fork. From couches that open remotely to TVs on tables, we check out how to make our spaces special with Harlem interior designer Melody Vaughn.
I think in order to be healthy, your home needs to be a sanctuary.
Who gets more respect, the family dog or the Caribbean nanny? Find out from thought-provoking Harlem filmmaker Nadhege Ptah. An American hero has come alive in Harlem.
I am Harriet Tubman.
Christine Dixon transforms to the woman nicknamed Moses for leading her people to freedom. All of that and more on this episode of What's Eating Harlem. Welcome to Pisticci, in Italy and in Harlem.
Pisticci is a small village in southern Italy where my grandparents come from. So that's the name of the restaurant.
The restaurant, located at 125 LaSalle Street, is one of Harlem's best-kept secrets for years. Michael Forte and his wife Vivian opened the spot 15 years ago. No restaurant experience, just the desire to serve good, really fresh food.
It was so great to be in this neighborhood because if I was in a different part of New York City where there are how many restaurants every street, they'd be, oh, okay, another restaurant. No, but this was right from the beginning. The day I opened my doors, people came walking in.
Walking in, Pisticci makes it clear what you're about to eat will be farm fresh, really. In fact, there's my dinner, just delivered by Pisticci's own staff farmer.
This is an oyster mushroom.
Yes, Pisticci has its own farm. They grow in two places, actually. Their farm in Arsening and their huge greenhouse in Croton-on-Hudson, permitting them to grow year-round. So with about a 45-minute drive, talk about from farm to fork.
When you pick a vegetable, this kind of stopwatch starts, and every minute that goes by it gets a little bit less flavorful. So the less time between when you pick it and when you eat it, the more flavorful it's going to be, also the more nutritious it's going to be.
Pisticci specializes in regional Italian cuisine. That mushroom will be the centerpiece.
We try really hard to keep the Southern Italian, which is more of a simpler, not the cream, not the heavier, just a few simple ingredients.
Taking those simple ingredients and making magic is Edmundo, Pisticci's head chef and cuisine creator. There's my mushroom. Check out that salad. You can see the freshness. Edmundo, who makes his own pasta and his own cheese, will also create a pasta dish.
Edmundo, my chef, you know, he's as creative as they come. He's always doing something now. He was always making a mozzarella. Now he's making different type of cheeses now.
My meal is ready. White bean ravioli and oyster mushroom. And there is the other dish, a restaurant favorite, penne Pisticci, sprinkled with some of that homemade cheese. Both dishes accompanied by that super fresh salad. Absolutely delicious. It's not done when the meal is over. In fact, it's just the beginning of a growing circle cycle. Pisticci has taken its environmental consciousness to an extreme. Follow us behind the restaurant.
We take the food, the organic food waste, which is, you know, obviously the vegetables, shells, grinds, rinds, napkins, and that goes in here. We mix this stuff with some wood chips. See that blue bin back there? That's full of wood chips.
It's all in there, in these huge compost bins. There is no smell, and it all breaks down.
When you have food scraps and you throw it into the garbage, it goes into the landfill and it rots. because there's no air. If you don't have any air going into food waste, it rots. And in that rotting process, it emits methane gas.
But in a compost bin, eventually, this is what happens.
This is our food scraps.
In that soil rich with organisms, seedlings will grow, which will be planted for the food. Is part of the philosophy and the food that make Pisticci unique. Manja.
People walk in here for the first time and say, wow, this place has a really good vibe.
A designer's playground.
So let's play. At the Architectural Digest Design Show, we're having fun seeing what's new with Harlem interior designer Melody Vaughn.
I'm actually a spiritual healer dressed up as an interior designer because I heal homes through design.
This is going to be a blast. Melody is on the hunt to see what she can use to transform the homes in Harlem she designed so fabulously.
Harlem, oh, I love Harlem. Harlem is in itself a design mecca. Harlem is old meets new, but old again. Most Harlem residents that live in Harlem, and it's been my experience, they want to stay there and they want to up their ante. So they're buying new furnishings, they're buying new upholstery pieces, they're buying new art. Art is a key.
There is plenty of art here, plus unique furniture designs.
We like to give a nod to the past and to the future with some of our digital prints of old Victorian paintings, and just try to bring that into like a modern furniture design.
This work of art is actually a radiator.
Everybody wanted to hide the radiators and to make something beautiful out of things that you want to hide.
Putting a twist on the traditional, like a remote-controlled convertible couch.
What's new here is showing you how you can seamlessly integrate technology into your home without it being obtrusive. So as you can see, we have a projector projecting onto a table. We have one projecting onto the wall. And we also have this new 4K concept projector that projects up to 120 inches of 4K content. Gadgets were big. This light bulb is also a speaker. You just put it in any traditional E26 socket. You pair up to 2 of these for surround sound stereo. You don't need wires. You don't need batteries. Kitchen technology? Who needs handles or knobs? Just touch and open sesame. For those into tiny living, this is the ultimate everything, I mean everything in 8 feet.
But we're not done yet because we have a sink that has a real drawer underneath. And a real
yes, it includes a dishwasher.
But we're not done yet.
Oh, also a washer and dryer combo. Talk about compact.
Yeah, this is good.
Which is why Melody Vaughn loves coming here every year at the Javits Center. She gets ideas for her Harlem and her celebrity clientele. Stars like Jill Scott. But you don't have to be rich to live beautifully.
On any budget, you can receive a beautiful sanctuary in your home. Any budget. You can recycle, you can shop thrift stores, you can shop offline. Just hiring an interior designer to guide you and then you do the work, or set aside a budget. But hiring that expertise, that interior designer, to say, this fabric for your sofa because you have children, or this wall covering because of the way the light hits your window. Those are some key elements that interior designers can assist with on any budget.
Melody was always a designing woman, even as a girl.
I always had a passion for anything beautiful. I always had a passion for organizing. As a child, I would organize my mother's linen closet.
It came naturally. Her dad was an exterior designer. He owned a landscaping business.
So I would hang out with him as he cut lawns and did the shrubbery, and I saw what he was doing with his hands.
She started her designing career as a Home Depot kitchen designer before launching Melody Vaughn Interiors, satisfying her passion.
And I think sometimes we get so caught up and so confused in what we should do versus what our heart is calling us to do. And things just lined up, and I just stayed true to who I was and what I love doing, and I've been blessed. So I think in time, eventually, what your purpose is shows up, and you can move forward or you can stay stuck. But I wish everyone the power of moving forward.
Had a lot of charisma. Then the help of my mother, who built a foundation in our community. So I think that helped my brother escalate to where he is today.
Gregory Marius, his legacy will live on forever in our young people, our folks, our neighbors, our friends.
Don't forget what he contributed to us. Don't forget what he brought to us. Don't forget how many people's lives he's changed by just having this Rucker Park, a place where not just the kids can go, the adults can go.
Action.
Ready, set, action. Commanding the set, Harlem filmmaker Nadhege Ptah.
I'm an actress, writer, filmmaker, director.
She is also the founder of Harlem-based Mayat Films,
which stands for Manifesting an Artistic Truth. So my goal is always to come from a place of truth. I'm speaking about that elephant in the room, those stories that no one wants to talk about.
Welcome to the set of her movie with a topic no one wants to talk about. The title, Dodo Titi.
Dodo Titi.
The short film tackles a touchy subject, a woman from the Caribbean who is a nanny/maid for a white family. A clash of culture, status, race.
So my first project was Dodo Titi, which means Sleep Little One, which was about a Caribbean nanny who competes with the family dog for respect.
Even more telling is the backstory. Nadhege ripped this story out of her own life experiences involving a stranger and the stranger's dog.
I was leaving the supermarket and there was someone coming in and the aisle was narrow, and I saw that the dog was approaching me and it was about to knock me out, and I said, okay, I'm gonna move, but there's no other space for me to move but for her to move so we can just not bump into each other. Well, I got shoved and the woman said, well, and I snapped and I was frustrated. And then on my way home I said, wow, this dog must be much more important than me. And then it dawned on me, I said, it'd be interesting to write a story about a Caribbean nanny who competes with the family's dog for respect. What must she do to get attention as a human being?
He's our dog and part of the family.
Nadhege's own backstory is interesting too.
I come from parents who were born in the islands, Haiti.
Growing up, she loved the arts, especially dancing. But as a good Haitian daughter, she knew her path to success was set.
Culturally, you know, you're a doctor, a lawyer, a nurse. That's usually the things that they want their children to become.
She settled on psychology, but secretly studied acting.
To my family, she's a psychologist, right? And then when I finally decided to come out in the open, like, this is what I'm doing, I decided this is it for me. As disappointing as it was for my family, but it was more satisfying for me.
So she acted, but found the roles not really there for her. That's when she decided she would create her roles.
Then I transitioned to becoming a writer also, and then I took an 8-year break.
She says the break to live life, get married, and have these beautiful children. Now she's back and making the movies herself.
Then I produced a Richard Joseph film called Harlem Love, which is a period piece about a couple struggling in love.
You really think you can talk to a woman like that? What can I do to make it right, little sister?
The romantic movie is magical. Turning today's Harlem into something of a time gone by was not easy. Adding that special sauce to this short film was the poetry sprinkled throughout the film, delivered by the iconic Sonia Sanchez.
It took me 2 weeks to call Sonia Sanchez, because I said, this is Sonia Sanchez. And when I finally found the courage to call, she answered. I remember freezing for a couple of seconds. And I said, how am I going to ask this woman, this iconic person, would you love to be a part of our film by reciting one of your poems?
Love comes with bone and sea, eyes and rivers, hand of man, tongue of woman.
Now Nadhege is working on her next film. True to form, it'll be one of those elephant in the room topics few want to talk about.
Well, right now I'm exploring gentrification in Harlem. So my next film is Paris Blues in Harlem. So it's a story about holding on to the legacy in the midst of gentrification.
The train is heading toward freedom. At the controls, the woman called Moses for leading her people out of the darkness of slavery into the light. This night at the National Black Theater, she had this Harlem audience mesmerized. Her power comes from within. One woman taking on the body, the soul, the life.
I am Harriet Tubman.
I did not choose Harriet. I honestly feel that she chose me.
For actress Christine Dixon, this is her passion project. She has played the role of Harriet Tubman for years in this one-woman show, adapted from the play written by Morna Murphy Martell.
The way I do it is it's loving. I'm passionate about it. You know, the president of the Harriet Tubman Purple Hat Society said to me, Christine Dixon was not here today. Harriet Tubman actually showed up.
I was determined to be free and to bring my people along with me to freedom as well.
Well, if you Google it, it only says 300, but that's BS, because Harriet Tubman even said, I would have freed thousands more, but how can you free someone if they don't even know that they're a slave?
Down in Egypt's land, tell Lord, jump on the train.
The audience interacts and Christine Dixon educates. How when Harriet Tubman was a young teen and a slave owner ordered her to go after an escaped slave, she refused and was beaten, hit in the head. But it was that abuse that gave her divine insight.
But by the grace of God, her faith and that head injury she sustained when she was 13, that almost took her life. Her skull was actually fractured. Until her death at the age of 93, she kept falling and blacking out and passing out. But she said that injury was a blessing and a curse, because that's when God spoke to her to show her where to go, what to do, and whom to trust, down to the exact color of the clothing that the individuals would be wearing.
The tribute to this heroic American icon is not only coming from this play, it is obvious the bravery of this woman will never be forgotten, since her likeness will grace the new $20 bill.
So hours to wash her floors. Cecile, don't leave me hanging. Let's go. Come on. Hours to wash her floors. What? Did I say stop? Put your back into it, baby. Hours to wash her floors. Wash her windows and wash her walls. The walls are up here, baby. Clearly, she ain't never washed nothing before. And wash her walls. Now, if that child cried, Miss Susan would whip me.
I really feel passionate about her. I love her. I've never had the chance of meeting her, but she did come to me. I did dream about Harriet Tubman a few times.
Dixon feels she has channeled Harriet Tubman, bringing to life a woman she never met, no video, just some old photos, and a spirit within.
I just trusted and walked by faith and not by sight, which is what Harriet always did.
That's all the time we have for now, but join us next time on What's Eating Harlem. I'm Vanessa Tyler. See you uptown.
Yeah, me and you taking flight on this electric ride. World sees us tonight. We're lightning bolts in the sky, flashing with thunder, and it's beautiful all over. Yeah, let me feel vibrations going through my system, send shockwaves to me.